Hey everybody, welcome back to OHKO, a Pokemon VGC podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Brown, and I have officially moved back into the dirty Jersey, back home with my family. And I'm joined by my co-host, Sierra Dawn. I'm happy to be back in Jersey, but I'm also happy to be joined by you, even though you're under the weather, Sierra.
Yeah, the infamous Con Seattle Regionals was awesome. I have come down with the sickness after getting back home, so yeah, no camp for me. But at least if it's a time to get sick, like it could be worse. Pokopia, I'm chilling in bed. So, but had to still make it for a podcast episode, even if no cam.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big episode. We had our predictions. We had our double feature last week. Actually, two episodes going up on the same day, which was it was pretty fun. Like people were excited, and the Discord felt like they got double the treats at once. So we don't typically do that, but it was still fun to have our episode with Paul Chua, our EYC champion, and then our Pokemon Day predictions. And I think we're going to start with our Pokemon Day. Kind of recap, talk about the important things. We don't need to talk about like that other, Pokemon Pocket News or Pokemon Masters EX. None of that stuff matters to us, Sierra, right? Let some other Pokemon Masters podcasts talk about the new things coming to their game. We're focused on VGC here on OHKO. So I think we start off with champions. And I'll leave the floor to you. What are your thoughts? We, for the first time in 7 months, had a new trailer for Pokemon Champions.
I mean, new trailer, but at the same time, like there wasn't really too much about the game. So I I had thoughts. So I feel like again, the thoughts going into the presents was they're holding this game very close to their chest with the footage that they've shown us within like these directs, etc. And it kind of still felt that way. Like it was kind of more so a commercial, which we're a month and a month, maybe 2 months. It depends on when in April it releases, whatever, out of the game. So like it's not like the craziest thing, but like I'm kind of surprised because they tend to show more about their upcoming games, I feel, than like they have. Even if you look at um Pokopia and like how much stuff there was going into than the release, right? So it was just kind of a little odd for that. So I kind of like glad Champions was in the presents. I kind of felt like that was a given though, and I'm surprised we just didn't get shown a little bit more.
No, I'm 100% with you. And like, yeah, like Pokopia they got 2 days before the direct, got an entire hour long like Nintendo Treehouse Live presentation of people playing it, showing it off. It got more stuff in the presents as well. Like, I was just hoping that Champions would get some of that treatment, like having somebody talk. Like they have like the voiceover people talk, like, oh, in this thing you're gonna do blah 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 blah. Like I was expecting something like that, unless they're going to release that closer to the launch in April. I really don't know why that wasn't a part of the show, but like it is really hard not to be a Debbie Downer when it's like we waited 7 months for them to show more Mega Evolutions Mega Evolving. Like we knew this is the Mega game. We know it's the Legends ZA roster, Pokedex or whatever that we're gonna be using, and all you did was just show us more Legends ZA Pokemon Mega Evolving. Like that's the one thing we weren't concerned about. It's the one thing we knew. So like, sure, is it more desserts, more cool stuff? Yeah, but like we need the meat and potatoes of this game. We don't need the side dishes or the desserts right now, and that's where I'm like kind of like hesitant on what's going to happen. And I don't know if it's April 1st or April 15th or April 30th, whenever this game is coming out. I'm like, we're so close and we still are lacking that much information. I'm getting I don't know. I don't even know what to say, Sierra.
Yeah, I think what's a little odd is in the Pokemon, like in the presents itself, we didn't really get too much. We got the little trailer and that's kind of it, right? But then there was a lot of like news medias and stuff that posted afterwards with a lot more information than what was given within the trailer, showing that they have been having people from media, they have been sharing information. Obviously, that's very curated information, but I'm kind of curious as to why maybe some of that wasn't in the presents. I don't know if maybe it's because they wanted specifically things to be in more of a photo format, so it didn't fit the presents. I don't know if maybe they were unsure about what information they wanted and they needed to like solidify like the Pokemon presents now or like what exactly it was. But we got like a decent amount more on a lot of media sites, which I think then just added a little bit to the confusion. Like I was glad to get a little bit more information, but why it wasn't in the presents is one thing, and then I also feel like as much as we got information, I've just seen social media blowing up because still not a lot of it is definitive, right? There has been still the conversations about the IVs and the EVs. Have they not removed IVs from the game? Now there's this whole discussion about the PP for the Pokemon moves because they showed a Pokemon move screen where they weren't maxed, which has huge implications when you look at the restricted Pokemon that have specialty moves of only 5, and just a lot of other different things that, again, is more questions than it is answers, right? So I'm I'm very intrigued, I think is the way to put it.
Yeah, and a lot of those articles, like if some of those things that were included in articles that we saw afterwards online were in the video, like if we had someone voiceovering for us, like this is how you take your Pokemon on a journey or whatever they called it, whatever their term is from going from home to champions, right? Like I think that would have been more helpful in the actual direct than having news articles covering those things. And like I just have to take a moment here, Sierra. The UI design to have the box be 5x5 when for 20 years every box has been 6 across because you can fit 6 in your part. Like it is an unfathomably confusing decision for them to make it 5 across. And like I don't want to I don't want to go like harp on like little things because obviously it's little, but it's also not little too because that's like a conscious effort. Like you just went against 20 years of UI of like you go 6x5 in a box and now it's 5x5 for no reason.
I thought it was like the 5 by 6. The way I wish it was like 6 across and 5 down, but I thought it was a 6 on one of the ways. No?
Well, it's they said it was like 30 or something, right? So I guess if you just keep going, it'll keep going down, down, down. So when we unlock more slots, it'll the horizontal will go down infinitely, I guess, to however many slots you have in your box. But the vertical, excuse me, will continue to go down. So if you have 10 vertical slots down, that'll go. But the horizontal is only 5.
Yeah, I really, 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 really wish that it a horizontal just like left for teams. Like with the video games themselves, like the main series, then
Yeah.
it was kind of whatever. It was like, oh, this is slightly annoying for me as a competitive VGC player, but I'm also like the minority of people like in the minority of people that like would care about specifically this, but like now that we have a game specifically for competitive where it is teams of 6, it's just one of those little like ooh like yeah, I don't know. Like maybe, but I guess like there's probably some design thing where it's stuff on the side if like that's taking up the room and stuff, but like it is one of those like wish lists like, "Oh, I wish we could do 6 across in the box."
Yeah, and I do wonder, like, we're so like this game has had such an odd like hype cycle with VGC fans because like think about the amount of times like when they first announced it last year and like, oh my god, imagine at Worlds if they announce it, shadow drop it and then we start playing regionals in September on Champions and like, oh man, imagine if they release it in the winter and then January is Champions just like San Diego January for Scarlet and Violet and like, oh my god, imagine if it's released on on Pokemon Day and then right away we start playing it. So like, just been so many like it's not even Pokemon's fault because that's the fan base's own expectations that we're setting up. But like, it didn't. At least the last couple, maybe the Pokemon Worlds one in retrospect is a little unrealistic for us to have been excited about. But it felt like the last couple of expectations of a drop or information releases like weren't too unreasonable from the fan base.
Yeah, I just it was I just wish it was a little more. I don't know. Like again, I feel like the whole complaint is we just haven't gotten much. We didn't get a release date either, which is like I just a little yeah, a little odd. Like I don't even
Yeah.
know what to say about it. Like I just
Like that's yeah, it's like should we be concerned if Pokemon's not even telling us the day in April? Like I don't know.
yeah, it definitely seems like a lot of like I don't know because I'm sure we'll talk about this more in a little bit too, but like we don't know when the game comes out, which means we don't know when we're switching over to it for competitive VGC, which means we also don't know for the Scarlet and Violet life cycle what we're doing for the next undisclosed amount of time because the game coming out in April, we have Orlando first week of April. I highly doubt the game comes out the first week or that we switch to it in that amount of time. That's fine. What about then LA and Indy and NAIC. If the game is end of April, are we going to do 2 months before we swap over? Are we going to do like a full regulation beforehand, which hasn't been announced? Like, it's just, there's a lot. And like, we're kind of running out of time, in my opinion, to actually announce it. Like, I don't know. Like,
No,
I'm
100%.
competing at Orlando and I keep waking up like, I'm going to start working on my Orlando team. And it's like, wait, I don't know what format it is. And then I just go back to not working on my Orlando team, or people are trying to like figure out what events they want to go to. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
or if they want to cancel Orlando, right? Like we saw people tweeting that they only booked Orlando because they thought it was going to be Champions, and now it's not. Now they're canceling the event.
Yeah, and I just like I'm I'm trying to like sit here and just trust in the bigger picture of it all. That's the thing. Like if they aren't announcing it, I'm trying to believe that it's for a good reason and that I know that there's been a lot of fear online about like the game isn't going to be finished by the time it releases. I feel like as much as I'm like a little oh my goodness about not getting news, I feel like holding the game tight to their chest and not giving us a definitive date is a we're not putting out an unfinished product.
I agree.
Like if they had finished stuff to show us, they would show us more finished stuff. If they knew for sure the game would be done by April, whatever, mid-April, April 13th, 14th, whatever, they would just give us that date, right? So I do at least like as much as like I want to know, at least if they're not giving us stuff, I'm choosing to believe it's because we are going to get a finished product that works and no bugs and it's going to be awesome and great.
I would like to alleviate some of your fears right now as an Orlando player, and for everyone else who's listening who's worried. So first things first, I think Pokemon has heard everybody. Nobody else needs to tweet that we don't know what the upcoming format is. I think you guys got it. The amount of tweets that I've seen in the last 3 days of people saying, "I don't know what the next format is going to be." Pokemon hasn't told us what we're all aware that we don't know. We got that covered. No need to tweet that anymore. What I would do if I was speaking to any of our listeners or for you, Sierra, I would assume it is Regulation F until told otherwise because it felt like this is just a feeling base. There's no facts behind my opinion here, but it felt like when they announced Regulation F for this, it was to be the reason they had us voting on it was because this was to be the final Scarlet and Violet event. So who knows? Maybe there was a time back in when did we vote for that? Like October or something like that. In October, that maybe Champions was going to release in February or March, and something came, that came down the line to move it. So like I feel, and I still confidently feel as if it's going to be Regulation F until told otherwise. And then people say, "Oh, but now it's on cart. It's I." This is like the if people haven't paid attention, the on cart regulation has not matched the VGC regulation for like almost a year now. Like I think it really has been like in 9 months or something, going back to Regulation J or whatever, that the on cart format and VGC format have not matched. So it is not confirmation that because on cart is Reg I, therefore the rest of the events in April forward will be Reg I. So I don't know if it's the answer you want to hear because I know you're not a big fan of Regulation F, but for any of our listeners, I would assume and prepare for a Regulation F in Orlando and anything pre-champions until told otherwise.
I mean, I think too, where it's like, oh, like, where's the information? Is I think is a big indication on when we are going to be switching over to champions. If we stay for regulation F for Orlando, I truly believe that means we are going to champions sooner rather than later.
That's
If
fair.
we return to like reg I or do any other regulation, I think that means we are not getting champions until like NAIC, maybe Indy, right? So I think that's the other part of it. It's like I myself am like, oh my gosh, because Orlando, which I have just been practicing with like any assumption is regulation F, right? But if it is okay, Orlando's regulation F, then I feel like okay, champions, we're doing this, like we're going right. But yeah, I just again, it's one of those okay, bigger picture. I think that there's always like with our competitive scene gonna be grievances with like information and when stuff comes out. But like I think that this is like that last hurdle that we all need to go through. Like I think back to like the end of the 22 season where we just didn't have VGC for 4 months because of the wait for Scarlet Violet, right? Um so like for VGC, there's always and like the fact that we're repeating regulations because there was no new game, so we've been on Scarlet Violet for 3.5 years. Like there's always going to be hurdles, but like with champions, that should assumingly be the end of said hurdles. So it's just like getting through the right here, right now. I think it's just more so like piling up too, because like man, I'm just so excited for champions. Like I was so excited for Pokopia, but then I knew what day to count down towards, right? And now I'm like man, I'm so excited for champions, but like, do I only have 3 weeks to wait? Am I waiting 2 months? Like,
Exactly. I think I think where we're both agreeing on is it really is the one-two punch of the lack of champions information being tied in with the lack of information for the current or upcoming VGC regionals. And like if we flash back to 4 years ago, right? We weren't even playing VGC as we waited for Scarlet and Violet, as you talked about. Meanwhile, we fast forward to now, and we're breaking records for most attendance at these events as we're waiting for the next game. So think about how much healthier our game is in a state 4 years later than it was back then when we had to stop the circuit essentially. Now we're still playing on an old game and everyone wants to dread Reg F or dread whatever format's coming. People are still signing up and playing for for these events. And like I just pulled up my calendar here, Sierra. Like let's arbitrarily say, I'm just thinking about Friday. I feel like a lot of video games come out on Friday. I don't know. Friday, April 17th, let's arbitrarily say, is the champion's release date, right? Because we have no idea. It could be the first, it could be the 31st, who knows? April 17th. I think, isn't LA like the 10th of May or something like that? It's the second week of May or something like that. Do you think 3.5 weeks, if it launches theoretically on April 17th, do you think 3.5 weeks of champions is enough to hold a regional in LA or no? Would we have to wait until I think what Indy's near the end of May, I think, right?
yeah, I mean, for I feel like we're just gonna have different answers than competitors would. But if this was a brand new game with no home connectivity, I would be like, no, absolutely not, right? But I cannot foresee a world where we do not get home connectivity on launch if they're going to be pushing this game to be used for competitive and making such a big deal about home connectivity overall, right? So, assumingly, home connectivity is going to be on launch. And realistically, the people, for the most part, that would be attending, not even for the most part, like I think majority, if you're planning on attending Indy or LA, you have competitive Pokemon or have means to get competitive Pokemon, which means you'd have a way to put them in bank, which means if home connectivity is a thing, you have them in the game, right? Maybe there's going to be some fringe cases, like obviously there'll be new Pokemon, like the Megas and whatnot. But between being able to get them in game and hopefully more information coming out beforehand for people to have time to get them, like I think it's okay. I definitely think that there would be competitors unhappy with it. Um, but like in terms of a can we? I think we can. Is it the best for everyone? Probably not. But I definitely think anything past a month is like fair game at that point.
Yeah, I think it's definitely doable considering not just like the 3.5 weeks of, people, being able to get stuff once it's announced or once it comes out to when the original is. We got to remember Legends EA came out in October. So in theory, if we are playing, we don't know exactly, right? But if we're all assuming, because every Pokemon they keep showing is in Legends EA, and they're all mega evolving and like from ZA or the DLC, that means that the difference with Scarlet and Violet was it came out mid-November and we didn't have the regional until early January with San Diego. So you had 6 weeks to start the game, play through the game, get your shiny shard, do everything, and get your competitive Pokemon. You've had theoretically since October to catch your Mega Raichu, or well, I guess that was the DLC one. So like catch your Mega Scolipede or catch your Mega Skarmory or whatever, right? And then it doesn't. Apparently, it looks like it doesn't even matter what stats they have in Champions because it's got the different stat distribution thing that we see that we keep seeing in the videos in Champions compared to the Pokemon games. So like you just have to bring a Skarmory up. You just have to bring an extra drill up in through Pokemon Home. So when you look at it from the lens of like you've had since October to get this Dex quote unquote situated, like I think the 3.5 weeks would be more than enough time.
I actually thinking on it more and bringing up like people having and playing ZA. I think where I was wrong with my original assumption of we should have the Pokemon is not really keeping in mind we'd be going into a different format with Pokemon that were not legal within Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, no Calyrex
And
or
we're
Urshifu.
we're kind of like the other Pokemon, like any sort of megas or Pokemon in Legend ZA that weren't in Scarlet and Violet. We're making an assumption that people have and played ZA and got to a point of completion. I played ZA, like I played like a good amount of it, but like I don't have all the Pokemon that I would need to transfer over to make a competitive team. And I'm assuming people who only play Pokemon for the competitive also don't. And then we fall back into the same pattern of you need to get this external game to get this Pokemon that you don't get. So I actually thinking on it more and us talking it out again, like I think 3 weeks could be doable, but I think since 3 weeks would be the first time we learn of like what is in Champions, what our format's going to look like, and that gives 3 weeks to practice the format and try and source the Pokemon that may or may not be from a game that you don't already have. I actually kind of think maybe 3 weeks isn't too great for everyone in general.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but I think it's more ideal than playing LA and Indy on Regulation F or
I
Regulation
think
I.
Indy
You know
we'd
what I mean?
definitely be able to in time. I think Indy is pretty fair game, but LA I could see it depending on when it comes out in April being a little tight.
Yeah, it's just we're just in the waiting room at this point. Like it's unfortunate, but
That's the
we just
thing.
gotta
That's why I
wait.
was sad about not more information because it's like I don't know, it's like we still would have been in the waiting room, but it's like the waiting room when like the doctor doesn't give you an amount of time versus when you know you're going to be seen in the next hour, right? It's like just
Yeah,
not knowing is so much worse cuz it's just like a crazy level of like anticipation and anxiety, right? Whereas like at least if you know, like you know, right? You can mentally like okay. So like yeah, I think that's where I was disappointed with the champions news is that like I just kind of thought we would get more. So the whole thing that like people always criticize Pokemon fans for doing before every Pokemon presents, where they go in expecting too much and then they get disappointed. I don't think expecting more from Champions was expecting too much, but it was the I went in with very high hopes of getting a lot more information about this game and then not getting that from the present itself and everything being third party, where I can't help but feel a little disappointed.
yeah. I don't think we're unreasonable for why. Like we didn't ask for the star, the stars of the skies. Like we asked for something, and I feel like we didn't even get to that level. But hopefully, before you blink, it's already the first week of March, right? Like hopefully, before we blink, maybe at some point. A couple weeks from now, they'll give us a release date, and fingers crossed, it's early April, not end of April. We're all just in the waiting area. But one positive that we got out of that trailer, Sierra, is that the two avatars that battled had different outfits on than the two avatars that are on like the cover with the Pokemon Champions showing up. So even though they didn't actually like show any of the outfits or like, customization, like that does show and prove that we will have the customizations. That's a little W.
Yeah, and it's definitely something too that I was super hoping for with the game. I also feel like because it's not, assumingly not a game with like a crazy adventure a single story campaign like one of the mainline series games. So like I felt like it was pretty inevitable that we would get options for like some semblance of like character customization and stuff. But I'm glad to see that we got a little more confirmation of that.
I also like that on the cover art, like you have so you have like the girl avatar, and she has Mega Charizard X and Armor Rouge. It's like they basically put me on the cover because I've played the girl since Crystal in every single game, and it has a Charizard and an Armor Rouge. Like
That's
I'm
you.
basically on
That's you.
there.
I can see the
They do they.
semblance.
All right. Now, one thing I think we're going to be a little more positive, let's say, of or I think we start from our conversations on the end of the Pokemon Presents with Generation 10 Pokemon wins in waves. And I'll let you go first, but just so you know, I was super hyped.
So I think at that point, I don't know. I I had just woken up when I watched the presents, and I kind of overall was just like, man, I didn't see more from Champions, man. I just woke up. So I feel like I watched the end part with the winds and waves part through a very jaded lens, admittedly. I think I was
That's
at that
fair.
point just grumpy. So I wasn't like everyone else is like, oh my goodness. And I was just grumpy, right? I also I hate leaks. I hate leaks. I hate spoilers more than anything. Even like the spoilers of like, oh, this part coming up is really good. Well, now I know it's going to be good. Now I'm expecting it to be good. I don't have like I can't form that opinion on my own. Like I hate any semblance of spoilers, and I had the titles spoiled to me. One of those leaks that came out, I saw that it was Winds and Waves, right? Which I get it. It's like the title. It's not the biggest leak in the world, but like it had been leaked, right? So like one of the biggest things, which is Winds and Waves, this is our new game, was spoiled for me. So already when I'm tired, I'm grumpy. I then see that this was spoiled for me. So I was just super like a blah about it. Like looking back, like I think the game looks good. I don't think we really got to see enough of the game for me to like, accurately say that, but like from the first impressions, it seems good. I will say they ate with the three starters. Like I actually, my first thought was like, oh, the other two are kind of meh, but like Pombon is like cool. And then like I got to sit with the other ones, and it was like, nah, actually, all three of these slap. They popped off. This might be like the best like across all three that they've had in a hot minute. Like starters, awesome. And I feel a lot
Yeah,
better about it all now. Now that I'm not grumpy. So
I think I was also like with you. It was like because I was sad about champions, I wanted to be sad about winds and waves, like as it was happening, but I just couldn't. I was just getting like too excited. I thought the graphics were awesome, like how like the deep water and everything. Like we don't have people complaining about trees or what other nonsense has been happening the last couple generations. Like it seemed like this extra year of development has been very helpful for winds and waves, and like we obviously are still missing so much information. We also did not get a hot professor or not. Doesn't mean they're not there, Sierra. They just have not been revealed yet. So my bingo card is to be determined. It's
DVD.
not TBD here. But like I just I wonder how it's going to be like with the wind and waves. Like is going to be I guess a flying in a water legendary Pokemon and like overall, I really liked the design. Like it has been a while, even though Sun and Moon doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Like it was a decade ago, literally 2016. So like it has been a while since we got.
What?
Yeah, it's been a
What?
decade since we got tropical out here. So
Oh my
I
god.
I don't mind the tropical setting as much as it seems like some other people online are upset about it. Like, oh man, another region based on the water or whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, give me every region. If it's gonna look this cool, give me every region on the
I'm
water.
sorry. I'm not past. It's been a decade since Sun and Moon. I stood in
Mm-hmm.
line at midnight to get that game on release. I like remember that like it was yesterday. I wish you could
Yeah,
just
and
see the
now
look
here
on
we
my
are.
face right now. Like, I just
Here
gobsmacked.
you are, what, three generations later with Sun Moon. That's the crazy thing, is that the 30th anniversary just happened, and I feel like with the card game, with the 20th anniversary, the celebration set and whatever, and like all the other things, like it feels like that was not 10 years ago to me.
I just wow, I'm actually just floored. Like, I just didn't quite realize it's been that long. Wow.
Sorry to shock you like that. So
Wow,
out here.
wow, bro, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Cool. That's just wild. Okay. Back to winds and waves. I mean, like
Yes.
something you said that I wanted to touch on was you said like the extra year development has done them good, but it looks like it's going to be something they take a lot of time with because I think too where I was a little bit jaded was I was hoping for a 2026 release, and they announced winds and waves for 27, which they didn't say when in 27, but the mainline series games tend to be later in the calendar year, looking at mostly in October, November. So, assumingly, if that's going to be sticking with the trend, that's a long time till we get the next generation of games, which is a long time.
That's a great question. Is because it, for the longest time, it did release in the spring, and then Gen 6 onward it became a fall release, like forever, right? For all these generations. So like when they say, because I thought I was jaded at that too, that even though technically Champions never had a release date to be delayed, but in all of our heads it was coming out in August and then November and then December and then February. Like, and so
It's
for them
it's
to
felt
actually give it
delayed.
an
It's felt delayed. For a game that had no release, it is felt delayed.
exactly, as we are saying. So the fact that like Champions felt delayed, and then we're so used to end of year titles for new generations, Wind and Waves being 2027 also felt delayed. But my hope is that it is a spring release, especially since like it's not tied to VGC anymore. They could release it. They could release it whenever they want now, right?
I mean, I think the thing is I don't think VGC was ever why games had to be released at a certain time. It's everything else. VGC, like if they've released stuff for VGC, we never would have had the 4 months off. The thing is the anime, the card game, everything, all the new Pokemon, none of that can happen till the mainline game. I think if you look at like every past year, the game comes out and then the TCG and the card. So, assumingly, like, because like I have to assume like they'll have it on the back end where it's all figured out and whatnot. So, like, that's fine. But like, I feel like when people talk about games being rushed, it's like, well, yeah, every release schedule is like based on it, right? I'd be curious just because it has been so long with Scarlet and Violet if we do see the break, just so that like the anime, the card game, and everything can like move on with their life. But
Yeah, I don't know if TCG wants to have like 10 Mega Evolution sets or something. I feel like they want to get some new characters in there.
we'll have to see. It'd be interesting. I'd be super down for a spring release. I mean, it does also come down to if we want finished, completed games, we have to give it time and wait. So it's as much as I want a game sooner rather than later. Scarlet and Violet did have, issues upon release when you look specifically at performance, right? Which a lot of people's first experience with the game, ours included, was with this buggier version of the game that was a little bit rough around the edges, right? In comparison to when like Switch 2 came out and people like replayed the game with the new graphics, it was like, wow, I would have enjoyed this immensely more had it been, not so buggy on release, right? So keeping that in mind, I could want the game to come out sooner, but if the game is going to be that much better with giving them extra time to cook, always give them time to cook. Can wait. That's fine.
Yeah.
We got other games in the meantime.
No, I'm definitely optimistic for Winds and Waves. I think they have to put, they understand it's the 30th anniversary, right? Also the 10th generation, so that's clearly a significant thing. I might not care about like the Pikachu forms as much as some of the other things going on, but like it is clear that they are putting as much effort as possible in, which like maybe it didn't feel like every generation was getting like effort to 110%. I'm just throwing it out there, but it does feel like Winds and Waves is getting there. My bummer was that my region prediction is my streak is now dead because I guess like Greece or like ancient Rome or whatever like that as it, and I called the last three generations correctly, and now that's just I'm back to zero. I got to restart because it looks like it's like based off of Southeast Asia or something.
Yeah, which was also in the leaks. So another one for
Oh, I didn't even know.
yeah. Oh well. It it be like that. I think overall, Pokemon Presents wise, like I think overall with the whole jadedness of it, I had actually recorded a reaction to the Pokemon Presents. Not that I sat there and said anything negative, but I saw other people's reactions online afterwards, like little Instagram reels or like little posts, and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, this is awesome!" And like, I just really didn't have that reaction. So I ended up not posting my live reaction to the presents because of that. Like, I felt pretty like, I mean, I was excited about stuff. I felt like the TCG stuff, with the fact that it looks like they're doing like older like formats and stuff. It looked like they were doing tag teams. It looked like they had the split cards. Like that looked like they were doing some cool stuff for that, right? And I'm sure people who do care more about Pokemon Go and about Pokemon Masters would think that was really cool. I think Cafe Remix is a really cute game, so like was excited for that. But like with no release date for Champions and like fact that like at the point where we got Wind and Waves, I was a little spoiled, and then yeah, I just wasn't popping off, so I ended up not releasing it. But yeah, I fell into the trap of I expected too much, didn't get as much as I expected, and that was kind of it. Like I don't know, it was 30th anniversary, it was 25 minutes.
I
I just thought it'd be a little
That's
bit
what I'm with
more.
you.
I mean,
I think you're too hard on yourself. I understand your being down or frustration because like overall the whole presentation like there were some awesome moments, but like it didn't feel like that's the 30th anniversary of Pokemon to me.
yeah, they did there's something to talk about. They did give us a little bit more information about worlds, specifically with the art. So it does look like stuff is going to be separated from now on. XP, they had theming of like they had a space theme, which looked pretty
Yeah.
cute. The competitive end has like more just like generic competitive stuff. I kind of wish we kept the themings aligned because I felt like the space stuff was so much cooler than what we got. I don't know if maybe like they'll
I was
actually
trying to think. I was like, is there a spaceship in space shuttle in San Francisco or something? I was trying to think of like the connection to the city. Like,
I don't know San Fran that well, but like maybe hopefully there is a little bit more intertwined because I do think the theming does make things like extra cool. But like they didn't really say too much about XP. There is an interest list for like getting the tickets and stuff for April, I thought. Was that something? So like that'll be cool, but like there wasn't really like much said about XP otherwise, right? So
yeah, it seemed very, introductory, like let people know everybody's going to be watching. So even if you're not a competitive person, you're still going to see this on the presents, and like it might intrigue you that now Worlds is not that it was always just about the competition because you could always just go as a, spectator and have fun and stuff, but now there are more non-competitive incentives to attending Worlds.
yeah, they very much so have been doing more and more, minus like just the competitive. I mean, even just starting with like, I think back to London and there was a little bit, but like Japan was the big shift where there was like Yokohama, they had so much outside of the venue. Um,
Yeah.
but you were still linked with needing a competitor badge for some stuff. And then other stuff was interest lists that were just way too crazy. Um, And then, yeah, I feel like they've been doing a little bit more and more. So, them making the decision to split, I think makes a lot of sense. I think that'll make it easier for people who want to like experience worlds to experience like the competitive end to experience that. People who don't care, they can all go do their own thing. So I do think it's good. I felt like there wasn't too much said about XP, which has me like more intrigued. Again, one of those because we weren't shown much. Like I don't really know, but
Yeah.
like I mean, I guess it is kind of nice to, like, to be surprised with, like, coming to it and, like, all that, right? So
Now, curiously, are you going to be picking up your essentially Game Boy jukebox with 45 different songs that you can replace in and out and change your play your favorite game red and blue song on your Game Boy jukebox?
absolutely not. I was really excited at first when I saw, like, that there was, like, "Oh, they're doing the old game and stuff," and I was hoping that it was gonna be an announcement on, like, more like, we got FireRed, LeafGreen. I was hoping this would be like, "We're gonna do more in the future," but it ended up just being music, which I do think that, like, for collectors, and there is gonna be a subsection of people that would really, really enjoy that. For me, I'm just like, uh, to hear a different song, I have to take the game out to then put a different game in to just hear a song. Like, it sounds like a lot of for like, I'm not really a collector like that, so it just kind of didn't really do it for me. I'm sure, like, there's people who are
Yeah.
excited, but, like, I don't
the
know.
the thing that got me because I just like didn't understand it. I thought it was like a gotcha, like you're going to go to stores and you're going to and like you'll get different cartridges, so you'd have to collect all 45 songs. But apparently, I think it just comes in one full package, and you just choose whatever song you want to play. So at first I was way more detrimental on it because of my misunderstanding of how it worked. I was like,
Bruh.
oh man, if I just want to listen to Viridian Forest and I got Gotcha and I got the Vermilion City for the fourth time trying to pull the song, like that's what I thought it was gonna be.
That would be wild, by the way, but,
Yeah, that's why I was against it.
uh,
Now I'm not so against it. No, no, no.
I think like, if it was just a music player that had, like, 1 cartridge or even just, like, 9 different cartridges for 9 different generations, and you could pick, like, you could go use, like, the button to go through, like, which song from that generation, I think I'd be a lot more, but isn't it like each individual song is its own thing?
It's
Which
it's its own, yeah, it's its own cartridge, yeah.
like, bro, like, I have Pokemon games around the house that I have lost the cartridges of because, like, I just lose stuff. How am I gonna do it for each individual song? Like, that is
Right.
just too many things. Like, we have like, I don't know, I come from the age where, like, I had, like, the Walkmans and the CDs, and, like, you had to carry that around and switch things out manually, and still even one disc had 12 songs on it. Then we invented iPods and phones
Yep.
and stuff that you could hear all of this on, and one awesome device to hear all your music. Why are we going back to things where you need to switch it out for each individual song? Those weren't the good old days. Like, I don't know.
It's the nostalgia of, oh, listen, I think I'm cooking here. Okay, I'm not getting the red and blue one. I'm not doing the 45 cartridges of for red and blue. But what if they made a special like Animal Crossing jukebox of this style with all the different songs of the different hours of the day, and like you put it up in your office, you get it set up, it like rotates or whatever, and so you're listening to the 3 p.m. hour, and then it's like a clock, and so when it hits 4 o'clock it then switches over to the 4 o'clock Animal Crossing song. I think I'm cooking. I would absolutely buy that one. And
That
it's
is a
got
good
KK
cook.
Slider.
That is a good cook. Like, that is a good cook. Yeah,
Yes.
down with that because it's one thing. You get a bunch of different music, but it then being linked to the hour of the day. Yep, awesome.
So it's still collector because you're still showing your Animal Crossing appreciation. So like I think, listen, Nintendo, they got to keep hiring us. They keep not answering our emails.
Yep. No.
I think that should be everything from the presents. Nothing else was crazy. I think we're good to move on to Seattle.
Yeah. So, how much of Seattle did you get to watch? 'Cause I know you were moving and stuff.
Yes, yeah. So for everyone, I was moving the whole weekend. It was very, it was tough, but all I did was I watched the finals. So congratulations to Carson. And the only other thing I saw was people were talking about you getting brave birded or something. I didn't understand what was going on in the Discord, so we want to start there.
We'll start there. We'll start there. But we were just being goofy, and in the lounge, I had my little Fletchling plushie, and we literally started out like the segment, and I just had this Fletchling plushie on my head. which like I just being goofy and was just being serious and like not acknowledging it. None of us acknowledged it. I think my favorite was like we're like 10 seconds away from being live and Yuki takes out his phone to take a picture of the Fletchling just like in my face his phone. It was so funny as we're like it's about to come to us, right? Because he thought I was going to take the Fletchling off my head. He wanted to get a picture while he still could. So I'm like trying not to laugh because Yuki just took this picture as we're counting down. Um, but then eventually when I was talking, the Fletchling fell off of my head and we're all like, oh no. And then I was like, I don't know, don't worry, it still has hit points. And then Len's like said something about it being brave birded and whatnot. It was like, oh my god, like oh yeah, it's just a bit of recoil. And then yeah, the Discord, the OHKO Discord is like, oh my god, Sierra got brave birded twice, by the way, because I tried to put the Fletchling like on my shoulder after that, and it instantly fell off. So yeah,
Okay. Now I'm happy now that I know the context, I'm happy. I was like, what you say?
yeah. So that is the context of that. But Seattle in general. Let me pull up the screen share. Wow. Can you see it?
Perfect. Yep.
Yeah. Big congrats to Carson for the win. I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, looking over at the event, I mean, already you just look at Top Cut and it's like torn, 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 like Philip Urbino,
Amunga,
fast.
Samunga.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny where it was like a bunch of like more like high offense teams, specifically like Tailwind with Torn, and then the one Whimsicott, the solo Whimsicott in Top Cut is the one that like wins, which I think was
I love it.
pretty funny. I tried to call it out after I think Carson was like 11-1, like when he was 11-1, called out that out of the two tailwinds at 11 and like out of all the tailwinds the only Whimsicott was doing better than all of them, minus Ethan Trejo, who also had Torn at 11-1. But yeah, I mean, super, super impressive run. Like this team, just super strong in general. I guess it was taken from a showdown team that was posted, which I think is also really a showdown team that was posted by Marcus, showcasing the information, not by the original creator of the team. I think it was, if I'm recalling right, it was the tweet where it was like, nobody tanks an alt under my watchful eye, and then posted this team, which is wild if I'm actually thinking of the right team and situation. But it makes sense why this team would do like super duper well. Like Len kept talking about how good like just a rock move in general would be right now in this current format. So I'm sure you're happy to see your girl Cornerstone
Yeah.
Orgerpon popping off.
Yeah, when I was watching the finals, I mean, I already knew he won, but I was rooting for him as I was watching, right? Like, because the Whimsicott Ogrepon are like really, they are really good together more than or I should say Cornerstone, excuse me, more than the other Ogrepon forms pairing with Whimsicott, because like not even in the OCD sense of like, oh, it's two grass types, like they really aren't doing remotely the same thing. Like Cornerstone's clearly more like Indeedee or more like Amoonguss than it is like Whimsicott. So that's what like drew me to him in the finals. Watching that was like they're not really overlapping in roles whatsoever. And I imagine the encore, like one light screen now is going to help against the side spam teams that everybody was running into. But the encore really helps you because if you encore them into a non-protecting move, then if you got Golden Go or Regidrago under Tailwind, they're just done for.
Yeah, and I mean, just like Whimsicott Gold, Regidrago in general, like Regidrago and Golden Gold just both have so much power, but with different coverage. Like, so with so much high offense teams, like, you kind of lead a little wrong into them, it could be really difficult, right? You let one of them just kind of get up and get going. So, yeah, this is just full offense all the way. And, like, again, the trend for Seattle, like, when we've been so focused on, like, oh, it's so balancy and so tailwindy, I don't know if we all hand shook that we just weren't bringing a bunch of balance. I don't know if, like, what just, like, happened, but, like, Rillaboom wasn't even on the day 2 usage. He had all of this, like, high
Wow.
offense here in, like, Top Cut. Like, look at it, like, here's a Rillaboom, like, a Rillaboom Raging Bolt, here's a Rillaboom Raging Bolt. Like, everything else is, like, more offensive, though. Like, it was just wild. Like, we were done day 2 after streaming all but one round to Swiss. Every single top 8, both top 4s and finals were done by 5, which is
Wow.
wild.
Yeah, it does not happen. Yeah.
Wild. So,
That just shows how fast those matches were. I mean, even the finals match was super fast as well. But Sebastian, he did bring the weather for the Seattle for the West Coast regional. He had to, had to keep it alive here. And I did think it was pretty cool with the life orb. But like when I was watching and listening to Rose and Scott talk about it, but then like it just when you run into another hyper offensive team, like not having the focus sash there, like you'll do 30% more damage with your ice shard, but you're just gonna get one shot in return with no sash.
wasn't it Sebastian who did the Terra Stellar Ice Shard OHKO onto something with the life orb? It's been a couple of days, and like I said, I have been
I
pretty
don't
sick,
remember.
but there was an OHKO with Terra Stellar Ice Shard Qian Pao, and I think it
It
must have been
makes
Sebastian's
sense,
game, which was just, like, awesome to see. So, because then he gets
and it
priority,
makes
right?
sense with the ice spinner, right? Because of the side spam teams, like you have sucker punch and ice shard. That's not now we usually see icy wind, or we've like seen so many other third attacks from Chien Pao over the last couple of years. Like you don't often see sucker punch and ice shard, but like since you are running double priority, like you need that ice spinner to get rid of that terrain.
Yeah, and, like, I think it makes sense, especially too, like, you can see Icicle Crash on, like, the Focus Sash, like, sets, right? Because then you're fishing to get that extra damage with, like, the higher base power, like, move. But if you have the Terra Stellar, like, you can just get the OHKOs
Right.
on the things that you need to with Ice Spinner anyways if you Terra, so I don't think it's a bad call at all. You get the 100% accuracy, you get the boost with the Terra Stellar, get rid of terrain so you can utilize your double priority, like, I think that works out super duper well. There was just a lot of, priority overall in general too. Like a lot of Dragonites on their way out, a lot of like Dragonite Chien Pao. Kinda we've kind of gone back to that. One Corviknight in top
Gary,
16.
nice.
Let's go. Let's go Corviknight.
Of course, he has to throw something crazy in there.
Let's go Corviknight.
Uh, I think like it was cool of Sebastian having Pelipper because like it's we're used to the prior formats where it was a lot more prevalent than it is here, and like you made the right call. If there's only 5 Raging Bolt in Top Cut compared to what it usually is, right? And there's only two Rillaboons, and like you didn't have to be too worried about those Thunderclaps. But if we look at Joe's team, because I saw he made a video on YouTube. I did not watch it yet, but I want to see what he's rocking here because he's got his patented King Gambit.
Yup.
I know he's been on the Gouging Fire train as well, but the Ogerpon, I saw Ogerpon Wellspring. I saw a tweet that Ogerpon Wellspring had higher usage than Hearthflame this weekend.
I mean, I'm trying to think back, but you just get, like, decent coverage overall too. Water Absorb if you're worried about an Urshifu. But, like, what I liked about this team is it's just priority, priority, priority. Like, we don't need speed because we just have, like, all the different priority moves. We are back to the days of Choice Band Dragonite, got the inner focus, so we nothing can stop this guy and just go for like Terra Normal E speeds next to sort of Ruin. Or you have Black Glasses Sucker Punch with the King Gambit. Like it's just this is very reminiscent of like early Scarlet and Violet for me with these Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even early Regulation F2, the first event in Portland when when Alex Underhill won it with 5 priority attacks
Mhm.
on his team. The Gouging Fire is pretty cool too because of the how I know that's like a fringe mon that everyone tries to make work and like matchup dependent when you can go into Terra Fairy. Like sometimes it is just unstoppable with Breaking Swipe and Howl to lower their attack and raise your attack on like King Gambit or something. Like, oof. Okay, imagine Ivy Cudgel after a couple howls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. So I mean it's rest of teams, a lot of again, a lot of Torn, a lot of Flutter, a lot of Urshi, a lot of Amoonguss, like everything a lot more high offense, but still best Pokemon, be best Pokemoning it out there. Ursaluna, just I mean, two
Two Cresselias in cut.
yeah, two Cresselias, 3 Zubian Ursalunas, Raging Bolt only 4 it looks like, and like none in top 4. Yeah, everyone's just got their answers. We hate
Oh, I
Raging Bolt.
saw there was a Galarian Moltres on stream. I saw from Play Pokemon's
There was 2. Ksun's team, more so people would know it for the Bronzong, which
for the
got
Bronzong.
20th,
Yep.
which is just wild. Like, that was this is a cool team. That was a super, super duper
Yeah,
cool
the
set.
Okie dokie and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then, Apollo, had the Galarian Moltres as well. This is, like, the T-Wave Flutter, Rock
The more
Slide.
traditional
Yeah, we
Moltres
got
team. Yeah.
Sneasler on there with the coaching. This team, by the way, one single protect with the spiky shield on the Ogre Pond, which is wild. Like,
I
everything
like
else
it.
is just damage, 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 and then it was kind of cool because you have coaching on the Sneasler, that I don't know if you saw the clip that James Evans originally posted where it was, like, screaming from the crowd when the Ogre Pond Wellspring lived a gunk shot.
Yeah, what was that? Because I think Pokemon tweeted it out too or something. What was being said in the background? Because I was in the car, I couldn't actually like hear. I was trying to listen, and I just heard someone like sounded like they got murdered in the background.
Yeah, yeah. So I recommend everyone to just go look at James Evans, the King Villager. Look at the tweet, turn the volume up. It's really funny. It's like later on in the clip. It's a short clip though. But it's like just like generic screaming and then I think like them saying that they love Apollo. Like it's just friends hyping up friends. It was just really, really funny. But like the Ogre Pond lived that. I believe it had a coaching boost. So it was they're pretty big. But yeah, that was just a really
Oh
crazy
yeah, I lived
moment in the game.
the Woodhammer, right?
It lived a gunk shot.
Or oh, Ogre Pound lived the Gunk
Yeah,
Shot. Okay, my bad.
yeah. And it was just like it was Apollo versus Beck, but it was just like a wild turn because there was a yeah, it was just wild. You just need to go back and watch that. Like it was just crazy. But yeah, the screaming was just really funny. Like, oh my god. What
Oh
else?
James.
What else was
Guy ends up in one Pokemon Presents and thinks he can. So that was awesome too. During the XP part where we had the finals, they were showing off Geo and James.
Yeah. Which is awesome, awesome. Um, but yeah, um, other things for Seattle. This was the first Seattle Regional Championships in over 10 years. So they normally have been doing Vancouver regionals. I'm assuming they didn't want to do a double up of Seattle and Vancouver. I have to admit, like I was obviously super sad that they got rid of Vancouver because that's my I grew up like an hour from there, and if there's Vancouver regionals, like normally my family will come down. Also just more events for Canadians. So I was super duper disappointed that Vancouver's gone, and that we got Seattle instead. So I hate to admit this, but Seattle was probably one of the better locations that we've had in a while. Yes, I would
Wow.
not be upset whatsoever going back to Seattle. I would actually very much so prefer it. If we got Seattle and Vancouver, I would be super, super jazzed. But Seattle, the airport experience was super duper smooth. Ubers are really
Okay.
expensive. That really
They are
sucked.
crazy expensive.
Crazy
Yeah.
expensive. So like carpool if you can, or Lyft. Lyft is on general $20 cheaper. But like it's relatively short from the airport to like the venue. Um, the venue itself, they had 2 different halls, one for VGC and Go, one for all of TCG. Um, I don't know how TCG felt that like the broadcast was on our side, but like I have to say the hall not being so crazy loud and packed was amazing. It
Yeah.
was phenomenal. It was just so much more peaceful, so much more relaxing. There was so much more room. Like it was amazing. I would love to know how the TCG players felt because like I did go to their side. All the vendors were on their side, minus yeah, all the vendors were on their side and it was significantly louder and more packed over there. So I don't think that they would have gotten the same like relief of like less people in the area as like VGC and Go felt. but like the separation was super duper nice and it was really close. So it's not like you had to go far. It was like this little sky bridge in between. You enter, you go left or right. You could get to the other
Okay.
side very easily, which was nice. There was a lot of good food places around. Things were very walkable. Things were a little bit suspicious at night, just with like on the street, but like realistically, I feel like that's any big city at night. So I'm not really gonna. I mean, even in my small town, like that's at night, you got to be careful. So I won't take points off for that. But like
Yeah.
Seattle was, in my opinion, amazing. And like even like airport going back out, security so fast. Airport, there's so many people, but the airport is so nice. Security, I was through in like 2 minutes. Like it was just so efficient. Like, it was very, very well done. So
That's great to hear because obviously I was sad I missed Seattle. But like to hear that it worked out real well, like hopefully that other people feel the same way as you, and like that could lead to future Seattle regionals. Because whatever there was always the things with how the state of Washington is compared to other states, and how we can't hold events there. For some reason, first time in 10 years, we were able to hold an event there, and I hope that maybe that could lead to, dare I say, like a future IC or future Worlds in Seattle. Who knows?
I mean, Seattle's not allowed to get a Worlds until after Toronto does, which I'm
Okay,
still
fair,
saying
fair.
Toronto, perfect Worlds venue. Just again, a Pokemon, if you hear this, perfect Worlds venue. You can walk to not one but two different arenas right by the convention center. There's so many halls, so many like so much great stuff. You want to do XP? It's literally right downtown. It's perfect location. That's all I'm saying. Um,
Yeah.
but no, I would be very happy for regionals to go back to Seattle, actually. So,
Okay. So now that was our fifth regional, right? I think we have four. Well, no, do we have three left? Do
no,
we have Orlando,
Houston, Orlando,
Houston?
LA, Indy, 4 left.
Right. Okay. So we have four left. So we're more than halfway done on the season. Just in the blink of an eye, just like that, Sierra.
Yeah, no, like it goes back to the like, man, like what even is time? And we're old, but like the amount of times where it's like the season's just started. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at my calendar and I'm like, wow, I am not like there's just not much left. Like I just don't know. Like it's just wild every single time. So yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, that's how time catches up on all of us here. I don't know. I'll see. Maybe I'll go back and watch some of the matches, but it was just it is kind of tough with Reg F, right? Like it feels like you don't want to go back to. We've done so much of it already that I don't know how much more time I want to spend out of it watching the vibes. But I probably should for the future regionals coming up.
Yeah, you gotta get on board. Gotta get on board.
Yeah. I gotta listen. I gotta see the Cresselia. I know Colin Hire was tweeting about his Cresselia. I was happy about that because he is like an iconically paired for like that's trainer to Pokemon. Colin Hire won winning regionals with Cresselia back in the day. Like I was very proud seeing him getting top four with his OG.
I that was a fun thing that we kept like saying through Seattle is we kept talking about 30th anniversary and then 10 years since Seattle. So there was a lot of like conversations about like, man, us casters just being old. Like we were poking on it like Len and Dewey for like how long they've been like playing like Pokemon. They showed like photos of us at like early events or like myself, like young like kid photos where I'm holding like my copy of Pokemon Yellow. Um
Oh, really?
yeah, and we had been
Nice.
talking about how long Colin has been playing and, like, talking about the fact that his team seemed very, like, old head with, like, the Cresselia and stuff like that, so that was kind of a fun little thing we kept talking about during the weekend.
I'm happy to hear it was a fun weekend. So I think we're all wrapped up on our main topics for the show. Are we good for the question of the week?
Yeah.
All right. So if you made it to the end of our podcast, at the end of every episode, we have one of our Discord members ask us the question of the week. So if you ever have any burning questions you would love for Sierra or I to answer, make sure you join our Discord link in the description down below and asking our question of the week channel. And this one's coming from one of our besties, one of our mods, the one, the only Cy J, aka TJ. And I think he has a pretty fun question, nice general question here, and he's asking, what are you most looking forward to with the eventual Champions switchover? Example, leaving Scarlet and Violet and Terra behind, playing with new megas for the first time, and new kinds of content, new formats, new team building experience, etc. So I think it's a pretty like fun general question for us to answer this year on like it like is it you just want to be done with Scarlet and Violet? That's what we're looking forward to, or is there something on Champions specifically that we are more excited for?
I'm excited for Champions. Like I just in general, like yo, if Scarlet and Violet had the things that I'm excited for about Champions, I do not care how long we play that game. I cannot wait for again the format to be like assumingly the latter to be the same as the competitive format that we're playing because I the amount of times I've wanted to load up games and I'm like, wait, I can't unless I'm playing Reg I has been oh my gosh, that has made me miss and like be so oh my gosh for champions. It's absolutely crazy. Second, if we had the ability to play on phone like we will on champions, I wouldn't care if we're playing on Scarlet and Violet for how long because that is just crazy. If I'm just I don't know in an Uber ride somewhere, I can just pull up VGC on my phone and play it properly. Awesome, amazing. So like it's not so much like leaving Scarlet Violet behind. It's more so I'm actually excited about the features that Champion has to offer. And I'm also personally really excited about like the chance to just dive in more competitively. Like I this is something that I could have done with Scarlet and Violet at a different point. And like I have had like the periods of time where I'm like, I'm so hardcore crazy about this format versus okay, I'm not so crazy about this format. So I'm just like playing games, but it's not like I'm not out there trying to win a regional, right? But like I'm very much so in a I want to dive in and learn everything and be good at the game phase right now. And it feels like not a waste of my time because I don't feel like that's 100% accurate when there's still Orlando and like still casting and stuff. But it's more so like it's not the same, right? I'm still playing my right F. I'm still making the teams, but there's just something about a new game and this new opportunity to dive in and then be nerdy about something that's going to be relevant in 4 months, as opposed to something where the, it's a very limited time span that we have now, right? Like I want to do all of my speed tier sheets for like the new format coming up. I want to build all of my teams. I want to put all my effort into that, and I feel like it's kind of a little bit of a wasted effort in Regulation F right now. Like, what do I get out of building, getting shiny competitive Pokemon that might not be legal in a month and a half? What do I get out of like learning a very specific niche in this format that I won't get to really play outside of learn, you know? So excited to like the dive into it.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely with you on like it's not my excitement for Champions is not like an anti Scarlet and Violet thing, right? It's not like I want to be done with Scarlet and Violet because I do think Scarlet and Violet has held the player base interests for longer than the last couple generations have at their tail end. So like the credit has to be given there, and that like I never would have cared about stopping playing on Scarlet and Violet if we even if we knew Gen 10 was coming out because like there was never an alternate world where we had champions, right? So like I never would have been like, man, I want to be done with Sun and Moon to get onto Sword and Shield, to be done with Sword and Shield, you know, like because it's just I was just playing on what the game was on. Like I never thought of this alternate world that we live in now, where we can have our own competitive circuit on our own game outside of the main series. And I don't even think to me it is like the mechanical difference or like the bat like because I love megas and like oh I'm excited to be done with terrors and back on megas or anything. Like it's not my excitement for champion is not gameplay excitement, which like the whole game is battling. So you would think it would be. My excitement is for what champions can be, right? For what it can become with our rotating formats, with the home accessibility, with the ease of access of playing on your phone or getting other friends. There are so many hurdles over the last I've been playing since 2014. So 12 years of my life of trying to get friends to play VGC with me, that not that there are no hurdles remaining, obviously there still will be some like teaching how to play or whatever, but like the ease of access that champions can provide to the general competitive video game player base that is currently not experiencing what you and I and our listeners and everybody loves so much about VGC. Like that's what I'm excited for, is for champions to lower that barrier and just flood our game with so many more players.
Yeah, and I think overall too, like the fact that it's separate, like we don't have any indication that it will be this way, but like what they can do because it's separate, right? About like better like format changes, about the fact that like the UI and stuff, like assuming they maybe different stadiums, like different change of music throughout generations, like the thing is I wouldn't expect that stuff on Scarlet and Violet. I wouldn't expect to do different stadiums than what we have or Pokemon like music from different generations. Obviously, with formats, like we're kind of limited to what's in the decks, right? Whereas like Pokemon Home, like no guarantees we'll have different arenas, but there's that possibility of it. And if we don't on launch, we can in the future because I'm assuming this is going to be a game that they put updates into. Like if you look at Unite and it's a game that is free to play and they change the Pokemon that's in the center, they change the maps. You look at Valorant, League of Legends, like anything non-Pokemon, like the free games get the updates because they're looking to keep people invested, right? And obviously, with Scarlet and Violet, a game that's complete on launch, we're not going to get those updates minus DLCs. We're not going to get VGC updates. But now, since we have our own dedicated game, I'm excited about that, like all of that potential and stuff too.
Yeah. So hopefully, TJ, we answered your question. We appreciate you, buddy. I think I'm just gonna put my finger. I'm just gonna cross my fingers, Sierra, and hope that I don't know why we've been so optimistic about champions, and then every time it just keeps getting pushed down the road. This time, because we're running out of time for it to keep getting pushed, I'm feeling optimistic. Within the next couple weeks, they gotta give us something. They gotta give us a release date or something.
I mean, hopefully, right? That's I'm curious when we will get a release date, but I don't think it's going to be
Yeah.
soon because if it's anytime soon, they would have just given it to
They
us
would
on
have just told
Pokemon
us.
Day.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
the
I
one thing we didn't talk
know.
about, FireRed, LeafGreen. I don't know if you've been playing. Oh
I've
my
not.
god. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. Obviously, like I've played the game, so like I know the game, but like it actually just plays so well on the Switch. Like I mean, of course, like resolution wise and like moving the game up, it like works, but it's like I have had so much fun playing on the Switch. It doesn't feel like I'm going back to an older game. It's so bright, it's so vibrant. I've just been having so much fun. I've already put like 14 hours into the game. I played it on like my flight,
Nice.
like from Seattle, like nonstop until I fell asleep. Like it's been so good. So I know there's still the discussion about the $20, 30 if you're Canadian, or that it's an old game, anything else. I don't know. The amount of time I put into it and the amount of enjoyment I have gotten out of it has been absolutely crazy. And I'm just like, I'm playing it. And I'm like, man, I will be so happy if they release Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald on this because it has been such a good experience. I can only imagine how good those games would be. Please, Pokemon, please, 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 please. And then anyone who's hoping about Pokemon Pokopia talk, I still don't even know how the proper way to say that. That'll be for next week. Joe Brown's only put about 2 hours into the game.
Yeah.
I've put in more, but also I recognize that there's a lot of people who haven't started playing or are not very far into the game. I think I'm actually not even that far into the game anyways. So next week we'll talk more. So if you're looking for Pokopia talk, next week there will be that discussion and it will have spoilers, so come prepared to skip a week. So
Exactly. Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far, but I wanted to get a little further in before we talked about it. And I think we covered ourselves very well this week, talking about the direct and talking about Seattle and everything. So I think this was a fun one.
yeah, I have to go back and rest, and I have more
Yes.
Pokopia to play because oh my god, this game rocks. So awesome.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you if you made it to the end of the episode. We appreciate you as always. Make sure you're tuned in next week for our Pokopia conversations. But for now, this is Joe Brown for Sierra Dawn signing off on OHKO. We'll see you next time.